Supplementation. Study after study proves it's impossible in a 2,000 calorie a day diet to get all the required nutrients your body needs. One of the reasons for that is that a carrot no longer is a carrot anymore, because the soil is so depleted because of poor farming habits and soil erosion that a carrot's nutrient levels are very, very low. Anything, any carrot, potato, broccoli, whatever you want. And here's what I suggest you should take or consider taking. You should always start off with some sort of high-quality vitamin mineral supplement. There's a variety. The company that I, other than the stuff that I buy at John's, the company that I use is Now Foods. John's has it. I like their quality standards, but standard process is good, and Barbara will be able to tell you about the other brands they have now. But you want to start there. High-quality vitamin mineral supplement, for sure. The next one is a probiotic. Probiotic is pro means life. Pro means for, biotic means life, so it means for life. Probiotics are what's in yogurt. It's in every cultured foods, like pure cultured sauerkraut and yogurt, kefir, which is like yogurt, miso. Probiotics foster the organisms in your stomach, keep your immune system very, very high, and help you digest your food. The probiotic that I recommend my patients, even infants too, particularly colicky infants, and I tell them to go get it at John's, is Primidophilus reuteri. That's just the one that I like the most that they have at John's. They have pill form, powder form, chewable form. It's in the cold section, but it's an excellent, excellent choice. The next is fish oil and omega-3s. We can go on for the next 3 hours on why fish oil and omega-3s are really important. Here's one of the contraindications that you have to be aware about when you're talking about fish oil and omega-3s are. If you're on Coumadin, if you're on Plavix, if you're on aspirin therapy, you should ask your doctor just to make sure, because those all thin your blood, and so does fish oil and omega-3s thin your blood too. So you might be thinning your blood too much, so you might have to find a different option. But really, really important. I suggest cod liver oil in the winter, fish oil in the summer. The reason why I suggest cod liver oil in the winter is it has vitamin D in it, and I'm going to talk about vitamin D in a minute. But vitamin D is incredibly, incredibly important, and cod liver oil already has natural vitamin D in it. When you get fish, the brand that I like the best on fish oil, I get Now brand, or at Carlson's. Carlson's, you just go on the web. Excellent. What you want to get when fish oil is, you obviously want to be cold pressed, number one, and you want it to be molecularly distilled. Because if you don't get it molecularly distilled, you might have heavy metals in there and cause a whole nother health disaster. For anybody who has heart problems or heart disease, you can get a prescription form of fish oil, and it used to be called Omacor, and I don't know what it's called now, but it's a really nice product, and you can get it for prescription, and it literally might cost you $5 a month. So you could talk to your primary medical doctor for that. I forget the name of it now. I think it starts with an L. Fish oil for arthritis, for inflammation, healthy heart. Just follow the directions. It's basically 3 grams a day, but it's really, really important. You find fish oils and omega-3s in all the cold water fish, like salmon and tuna and things like that. It's hard to find it in other places. I'm going to skip vitamin D for a minute, and then the last thing that I suggest people to take is some sort of green superfood or algae, and that's either chlorella or spirulina. They're very detoxifying. You can get them in a powder. So what I do I make a shake every morning, and it's got a lot of this stuff in it that I just mix up and drink it. But you can get chlorella from John's too. It's an algae. It's in powder form. It's just very detoxifying and really healthy for you to take. I'm pretty comfortable in saying right now, possibly the #1 most important thing you should all be taking right now is vitamin D. And there's a fierce debate going on that you don't hear much about is what requirements do you need for vitamin D and why it's so important. Vitamin D and proper vitamin D levels have implications on every single aspect of your body. It regulates nearly 200 genes. It decreases inflammation in your body, and it's really important. What's happening is that we're not going out in the sun anymore. We're slathering ourselves with suntan lotion, and we're not producing it anymore. We don't produce it in the winter anymore. It's just hard because there's not sun. But it's very, very critical. The first thing you need to know about vitamin D is you want to take vitamin D3. D3 is cholecalciferol. D2 is a synthetic form, plant-based form called ergocalciferol. It'll work, but it's a substandard version. The best thing about vitamin D, it's cheap, very cheap in terms of pure supplementation. The RDA recommended daily allowance is something pathetic like 400 IUs a day. What you need in your body, vitamin D levels, and this is, I'm going to spout out a lot of numbers here, and what you guys really have to do is you really have to get a blood test. And there's two ways to get blood tests for vitamin D. You can go to your primary doctor next time you have blood work and say, I want my vitamin D levels checked. The other way you can do it, there's two companies, www.grassrootshealth.com or ZRT Labs. And they'll send you the information. It's cheap. You got to draw a little bit of your blood, blah, 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 and they'll send you your information. You want to be within 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter. That's the number. That's the normal range, 40 to 60. You want to be really closer to 60 to 80. 40 to 60 is normal. 60 to 80 is, quite frankly, it's the cancer fighting range. So you want to be in that realm. If you want to get in that 40 or 60 range, it's very likely you need to take between 2,000 and 4,000 IUs a day. If you want to get higher, you have to take more. A child for about 25 pounds or under, about 1,000 IUs a day. But you have to get your blood tested. I could spout out a lot of numbers, and it's the only way to do it is get your blood tested and work from there and see. But at the very least, you want to be in the 40 to 60 realm. It has implications in diabetes, cancer, and now they've even correlated it to autism. Because about 20 years ago, it almost correlates from the day, time, everything. About 20 years ago, they basically labeled the sun as bad, and people started putting massive amounts of suntan lotion in. You could never get a suntan, and you could never be out in the sun, and vitamin D levels started plummeting. And at that same point, autism rates started rising dramatically. And that's only one aspect of autism, but it's definitely a component. Autism is an inflammatory disease in your brain, blood, and nervous system, and vitamin D is an anti-inflammatory agent. I have a 4-page summary article on autism and vitamin D if anybody wants it. I just got it the other day. I was just in one of the journals. Really, really important. If you're of dark skin, African American, it's even more important because it takes you 20 times more to be in the sun to produce the same amount of vitamin D as we do. And if you look at epidemiologics, whatever, I can't even say that word, African Americans, black, anybody with dark skin have higher rates of prostate cancer, higher rate to heart disease, higher rates of cancer, and it's probably directly related to lower vitamin D levels. Really important.